Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name's Alyssa. I am going to do a Q&A video today for you guys. If you want to skip ahead, I will put all of the questions as chapters, and you guys can kind of skip ahead if you want to. So I'm chilling in my garden, as you can see, and apparently it's wasp season, so we're gonna try to do this without being attacked by a wasp. Let's get into this bad boy. So the first question is, will you be doing more vlogs? And the answer is yes. I have been posting vlogs on Sundays typically. Today's video would have normally been on a Sunday, but with the holiday weekend, and my best friend is having a baby, so I hung out with her instead of worrying about filming a video, because a lot of my videos I do film kind of towards the end of the week, and this was just it was just a different weird week. But you can watch out for vlogs on Sundays. And then I have been trying to post like just kind of a bonus video during the week if I can. I'm really trying to stick to at least one video a week for you guys. But yes, they are vlogs. They're not really vlogs in the sense that I did years and years ago, where I bring you along for my whole day. I like my privacy a lot more than I used to, so I kind of had to find a happy medium with how I wanted to create content here on this platform. And if I didn't kind of pivot, I was just gonna stop. The next question is, how is everybody's health? Everybody's health is very good. Wanting to get chickens, what is the best way to start? The best way to start is just researching. And if you live in the city like I do, you need to make sure that you're even allowed to have chickens in the city. Some places you can have roosters, some places you can't. There's certain rules. I know when they first allowed it near me, you had to get all your neighbors' permission. That was like 15 years ago though, so thankfully that is not the case. There is like a mouse or a mole or a vole, something that's just keeps going back and forth in front of me, and I'm just not a fan. But I also didn't want the dogs out here because they're just extremely obnoxious. But that's kind of the first thing that you want to do if you live in the city. If you live in the country, you go on with your bad self. You can do whatever you want, pretty much. And then after that, you want to do a ton of research. I will try to find a video by Oak Abode. I will eventually probably make a video myself, but at this time I don't have one, so I will try to link some resources down in the description, as well as share everything that you need to raise baby chicks. But just a lot of research, know what you're getting into. Chicken math is a thing. If you don't know what chicken math is, you're not ready to get chickens. But pretty much once you get a couple, you want more all the time. So that's chicken math. How is the debt journey going? The debt journey, it kind of ebbs and flows depending on what season we are in life. So during the 2020 situation and the years that followed, a lot of people's loans were paused. The interest was paused, the payments were paused. I did not pause. So I was able to bring my student loans down about $40,000. So I was very proud of that. It might even be more with interest, but I brought my balance from 80 down to 40. So that's kind of the situation. Something that's been really helpful with that is tax refunds, if you're able to get one. I have the most taken out. It's kind of controversial. Some people don't want the government borrowing their money for basically free. I like having a refund. It's kind of like a little savings account. Yes, I know I could put it in a savings account myself. I want to deal with it. So you do you, but that's just been something that's been helpful for us, is that we get a tax refund and then we throw all of our money on there. If you are considering a debt-free, debt-lowering journey, the first thing that you need to do is you need to sit down and you need to get real about where your money is going. And it is extremely eye-opening. When I first did that, I sat down and I was like, oh my gosh, we are spending so much money on food, whether it's the grocery store, takeout, eating out. Food is where so much of our money went. We stopped eating out. We never eat out. And that is a transition, especially since like I do work part-time, which is nice, but I cook pretty much everything from scratch. I'm very busy. It's literally stealing string. This mouse is extremely distracting. So yeah, and just reducing the amount of subscriptions that we have. I don't go to Target, I don't go to Starbucks, except the other day I did because I had a reward. We still have quite a bit of debt. I think we have about $40,000. We have about $40,000 of student loan debt left. We have a little bit of credit card debt, and then we also have a hospital bill debt that we'll be paying through to next year. Next question is, any tips for nursing burnout? And I do have tips. I can only speak from my own experience, but when I worked night shift on the floor, I really got burnt out. That was just big bad for me. It's like, if you are experiencing burnout, you need a change, whether it's the hours you work, the time of day that you work, the type of nursing that you do, the facility that you're at. You have to kind of figure out, okay, what is it that is burning you out? For me, it was night shift. And obviously the floor is a beast of its own. There's a lot of bees around me, so I'm just a little making sure that there's no wasps in my face. But Did you hear that? Cicada? Oh God. I don't like cicadas, they're so gross. It sounded like it landed real close. If this is it, you guys know. Burnout for me, it was a combination of working on the floor and also night shift, but the biggest issue was night shift. So the first thing I did is I looked for a day shift job, and I found one, and I've been in the operating room ever since. Any big goals for the next few years / long-term goals in life? So I would say our goals for the next few years are to get out of debt. That's kind of our biggest goal right now. And then a long-term goal is that we would like to buy a piece of property and potentially have an off-grid homestead. We definitely want like a proper homestead out in the country. So those are definitely our goals for right now. I used to want to be a nurse practitioner, and that's at this point in time not on my radar. I don't really have any desire to acquire more education or debt. That's just a personal decision. The funny thing about being on the internet and being a YouTuber like myself is you say something one time and it like lives on forever. People don't let it go. That can be a little bit challenging sometimes because everybody is evolving. At least I hope so. I hope people are evolving. I have no desire to stay the same person that I am. I'm always trying to work on myself. I'm always trying to improve myself. I think there's like 2 mice just having a party. I'm not really sure. At this time, those are my goals. They may change. I've been on the internet for 12 years, so I've changed a lot in those 12 years. What would you say are your most helpful canning resources? And definitely the Ball Canning book is a big resource. I don't typically like to buy cookbooks because I end up not using them. But when it comes to like canning and things like that, I really like resources that are safe. I'm definitely not a rebel canner. I know people that are, and they can go on there with their bad selves, and that's totally fine. But I either like cookbooks. You can also find like safe canning practices on I think like the USDA website, as well as a lot of like university extensions. That's where I get a lot of my education from. So you just want to make sure that if you're Googling stuff, you don't want to just follow a blog post. You really want to make sure that it is a safe canning practice. So those are my most helpful canning resources, that is. When did you stop being vegan? I honestly don't know. Probably around the time that we got chickens, so probably a few years ago. Tips for how you balance work, family, gardening, canning, and camping. This person said they get so overwhelmed. And I do too. How do I balance it? I don't. There's an airplane flying over. I don't balance it very well. Sometimes I end up just burning myself out, drilling myself into the ground, especially like with working and gardening and canning and having a YouTube channel. And I also have hobbies outside of these things. A big help for when I go out of town is I make sure that I pretty much do whatever I can do before I leave, figure out what I can delegate to my husband, which ends up being watering the garden, taking care of the animals. Those are big things that Charlie does. And so that's really helpful, and just preparing and planning. Pretty much planning is a lot. So it's a lot of work. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, I just keep telling myself in the summer that it is such a short season, so I just try to enjoy it. If it gets to a point where I'm just like overwhelmed with something, like with canning, I'll just freeze it. I'll just put it in the freezer. It does kind of suck though when I do that, because then it comes to a point where the freezer's full and I actually have to deal with all the abundance, which I'm grateful for. So I just trying to remind yourself why you're doing the things that you're doing, and just kind of finding inspiration. Like when I'm just like so sick of canning, I will find like homestead pantry tours and just watch those. I'm like, I want that much food put up too. So I just have to just grin and bear it and just do it. I don't know if that's helpful, but that's pretty much what I do. Is I just do it, burn myself out, know that winter is a season of rest, and I look forward to that. The next person asked like different types of camping locations I've been to, and whether I've gone camping outside of Wisconsin. I actually have not camped outside of Wisconsin. I'm surprised. When I sat and thought about this, I was kind of surprised with myself that I haven't, but I haven't really. I don't camp as much as I used to. I go up to some family property and I spend a lot of time up there. So I haven't been camping as much as I normally would. My favorite camping location is wooded. Oh my gosh, one time I went to Devil's Lake and it was like the last site available, and it was like on a lawn, and I was like, it ended up being fine because I had the girls with me, and there was like a playground and there were actual bathrooms, so that was really helpful. Next question is, what ramen recipes do you make frequently? And honestly, I don't really make that many ramen recipes. I will share with you my ramen recipe. So we buy the soy top ramen. We get it on Amazon. I can link it down below. So my ramen recipe is I put 2 cups of water in a pot, a small pot. I put veggies in. It's usually either mixed vegetables or broccoli. I bring that to a boil. Then I add the ramen and an egg, and I pretty much cook that. I think it's like 3 minutes. And then I pour it in a bowl, add the seasoning packet. I add a little bit of lime juice and then sriracha, and that is my favorite. That's my favorite ramen recipe. Some people will actually drain the water and then add cheese and make like a cheesy ramen. That's what we do. We haven't gotten sick of it yet, and we eat ramen at least once or twice a week. So that's kind of our favorite ramen recipe. Another one that I have done before that I haven't done in a while is I will make the ramen. I won't keep the liquid. I'll add some, I'll make like a sauce with like PB2 or peanut butter, sriracha, lime juice, and rice wine. What is that? Is it rice wine? It's not rice vinegar. Yeah, it is. Rice vinegar. And then I mix that all together, add a little bit of soy sauce, and I pour that over it. That's super good with like veggies in it. That one's pretty good too. But other than that, we don't get super creative with ramen. How do you can your dried beans? I'd honestly have to look. I have to look it up every time. I follow a website from an extension website, and I will link that in the description, but I go something like I soak them overnight, and then I think I have to boil them for about an hour, and then I pack them in the jars. I like rinse that, pack them in the jars, add salt if I want, and then I think I pour boiling water over that, or I use cooking water. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I'm not super sure. Don't go off of this word for word. And then I pressure can them for whatever time it tells me to do. So I just buy dried beans from the store, and it was actually hard for me to find a recipe because the bulk canning has like when you grow your own beans, and I wanted to use store-bought beans. And also kind of a side note is some people will say, well, why do you can your beans when you can just leave them dry? And it's 100% a convenience thing for me. Like, I love having just canned beans. I mean, you could make them in your Instant Pot, but like I like soaking them, and it's just kind of, it's a convenience thing. It's my idea of fast food. What's your favorite meal to make for your family? I honestly don't know. An easy and quick recipe is my favorite meal to make for my family. It really just kind of depends. It depends on the day. Some days when I like have a day off and I have time, and more in the winter when I'm not as overwhelmed as I am in this current phase of my life and season of my life, if you will, I love to just spend a few hours making like a bomb-ass dinner. But in summer, really something that's quick, easy, and not gonna heat up my house. That's my favorite meal to make. I know that's not very helpful. I do like making homemade pizzas. Everybody in the family kind of likes that. So we'll say homemade pizzas right now. My friend Tory, who also has a YouTube channel, I'll link her down below, she asked my favorite meal to can in a jar. And I haven't actually really made many meal in a jars. Pretty much just this vegetable soup is probably my favorite. I haven't been able to find like a recipe that I really like. And I was really apprehensive because a lot of recipes have meat in them, and we really don't eat a whole lot of meat at all. So I found that you can remove the meat safely, I believe. Don't quote me. I'm not sure, but that's kind of why I've been hesitant, because a lot of the recipes have meat in them. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? And I am being completely honest when I say this. I am very content where I am right now. We used to want to move to Arizona. I have family in Arizona, and I would love to be around them more, but I like, especially with the hobbies that I have right now, having all 4 seasons is just kind of a blessing. I do enjoy the winter, especially now that I garden a lot and I spend a lot of time in the summer. I kind of look forward to the season of rest. I think last winter was probably one of the first winters that I didn't get super depressed, but I also spent a lot more time outside, because there is actually quite a bit of gardening that you can do late into the fall, and you can start prepping your beds pretty early in the spring, and just taking care of the chickens. I've definitely spent a lot more time outside. So yeah, I'm very happy with where I am right now. I know that's weird, but I'm just very content where I'm at. And then the last and most popular question that I get asked on a regular basis is, am I still working in nursing? And the answer is yes, I am still working in nursing. I mention it quite a bit because I get asked it so much. I will most likely let you guys know if that ever changes, but I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now, where I work a few days a week and I'm off a couple days. So yeah, I'm still working in nursing. I still work in the operating room. I enjoy my job. I've been in the OR for 5 years now. I just had my 5th anniversary in the OR like last week, so that's pretty crazy. It's just crazy. Like, I was even watching some old videos, and I just can't believe that it's been that long since I was in nursing school, because that was a very challenging season in my life. That was very hard. But thank you guys so much for your questions. If you have any more questions, you can leave them in the description, wherever. You guys know I'm rusty. I'm just not good at sitting down and talking to a camera anymore. You guys can leave them in the comments, and if I get enough, I'll make another follow-up video. But other than that, I will see you guys next time. Yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote, y'all.